Hello everyone, welcome back to Starkey Farmstead. So today, real quick, I'm going to show you how to do the deep litter method of composting in your coop. As you can see behind me, my guys are super duper happy, y'all. So what I did was 2 wheelbarrows of trash out of my garden. As you can tell, it is extremely hot here in Southeast Louisiana. I am covered in sweat and dirt. My hands are filthy, but my chickens are happy. And isn't that what it's all about? So I weeded a little bit in the garden today, which means I did some pruning on my plants and I dug out some weeds that I just didn't want in the garden. I put all of that in my wheelbarrow and I brought it in here, 2 whole loads. Now all I did was dump it directly on their ground. Now I've been composting in my coop here for about 2 years and my guys make amazing compost for my garden. Let me tell you why you want to compost in your coop. First off, it is the lazy farmer's way of composting. Second off, it reduces odor. Look at the sweat. It reduces flies. So as you can tell, I'm like in the coop, in the run with my chickens, and there are no gnats. There are no flies. And the smell's not bad. And the reason is they are going to compost all that green material back there for me. So basically composting in the coop layers. So what happens is their manure gets pushed down into the making compost, which keeps the flies from coming in and laying their eggs in the manure, which then breeds more flies. Another great thing about composting in your coop is it reduces the chickens from irritating each other, okay? So like you can see, everybody's busy, everybody's eating, so it's gonna reduce my food bill. It's gonna keep my chickens healthy. It's gonna keep them busy, and it's gonna keep them working, which is what God created them to do. Let's take a closer look at my setup. So what you see right here are the chickens walking on what actually looks like dirt. But guys, it's not dirt, it's actually finished compost. Because finished compost looks like dirt because you're actually making soil or soil amendment. So what I've done is dumped the 2 wheelbarrows full of all the pruning and the weeding directly on top of finished compost. Now, if you are unable to do it in the size that I have done it, because this entire area you're looking at is a compost area, you can actually build a very small box and put your kitchen scraps, your grass clippings, all your eggshells, anything left over from your house, including coffee grounds, inside that box. And they'll do the same thing in the box as you see them doing in this video. Now, if you really want to get creative, you can do a much larger size box where they actually have to hop up into it. And it's a contained composting area set up in your coop. Now, this is really cool and it's a good way to keep it all contained if your coop is off the ground. However, my coop is set up on the ground. Now here in Southeast Louisiana, we get a lot of rain. So as you can notice, there is a shadow that you can see on the video right now. That's actually a tarp that goes over their roosting poles. And so what we're doing is giving them a little bit of protection from the weather when they sleep. But you want this type of setup to be open to the elements because water is actually going to help speed up the decomposition process that you get when you actually are going to compost in your coop. So though I say it's a deep litter method, it's mainly like a deep litter composting method. And I'm just using what works for me. Now you have to do what works for you in the environment that you have. But the reason I really like this method is that my chickens are busy. It reduces my feed bill. I don't have a problem with flies or gnats or red mites or any other parasitic infestations. Our ladies are extremely healthy. They lay amazing eggs year round for me because when I go in twice a week with my pitchfork and I flip the compost up and over on top of the green material you're looking at, what happens is it's full of red wigglers, beetles, and little like spiders, and the chickens love it. So they're getting a protein source from this type of setup. Now, there goes my little chicken adding to the compost pile by pooping. So the point is, when I flip the compost, I am putting their poop down deep into the soil so that the red wigglers and the other bugs can break down that manure in a way that it makes it usable for my garden. Now, I don't take this compost from here and move it into another system to then let it, quote unquote, compost further. When I'm ready to go get compost out of here, I take a shovel, I go in, and I simply shovel it into a wheelbarrow and use it directly in my garden. Now, I've done this for 2 years. I've never burnt a plant. I've never added disease to my garden, and I've never had bumblefoot, red mites, or any other issues with my chickens. I do not use a lime or anything else in my coop to disinfect. And when they're done, I'm going to have free soil and a free soil amendment to bring nutrients back to my garden, which is totally organic and regenerative. So I need my chickens. You can even see I have a pumpkin skin in here because I feed them whole pumpkins. I cut them in half, drop them in here. The pumpkin seeds get rid of tapeworm and other types of parasitic infestations. And it just gives them, guys, a really cool treat in this hot summer. Now, the trick to the deep litter method is simply balancing your browns and your greens. So what I mean is all that fresh vegetation that I just brought into the coop is considered green. Manure, considered green. That means it's hot. It still has a lot of nitrogen in it as it breaks down. So now I need to balance it with browns. And the way that you can balance it are leaves, pine straw, sawdust, wood chips, chunks of wood. You can even cut your grass, which I intend to do this evening when it cools down, pile up that grass, let it dry out completely, put it in there, and now it's a brown. So I am gonna have to balance out those 2 huge wheelbarrows full of greens with about 6 wheelbarrows full of browns, which shouldn't be too hard since I'm surrounded by the woods. But for you, if you don't have woods around you, you can even shred cardboard and paper and mix it in with your greens. Now, I know what you're gonna say. What if they eat it? What did they do? It's going to digest. It's just paper. Don't make it more difficult than it has to be, guys. Okay, so this is how we do it at Starkey Farmstead. This is one of my main ways of cutting out so much work for me on a 2-acre farmstead with a 1/4 acre market garden. I literally could just work from sunup to sundown if I did not incorporate sustainable loop systems across my property, which means my worms break down my poop and my coffee grounds, and they make a soil amendment called worm castings, which keep my plants healthy in this heat, keeps them nice and green, keeps them hydrated, keeps the pest and disease off of them. Then my black soldier fly larvae break down all the nasty gooey skins from when I am butchering and the feathers from when I am butchering. They just eat that up and they make a soil amendment called frass, but they also feed my chickens. And then my chickens make all the compost for me, and my rabbits make all of the fertilizer. So if you can set up sustainable loops across your property, even for your backyard garden, you can grow a huge garden and reduce the amount of work that you actually physically have to do. Another thing you can do to cut back on all that physical activity you have to do is deep mulch. I don't understand why so many people have bare soil gardens. It doesn't make any sense. Let's go see what the puppy has. Samson. So this is our Argentina Dogo. He's our newest addition to our farm and family. What you got, Bryn? A pumpkin skin. Is that so good? Is that so good for you? So we do feed our dogs an organic raw diet here, so it's nothing new for him to be chomping down on some pumpkin. Oh, look at that deer fly on your nose. Oh, nasty. It left a little bobo. Aw. Everybody say, aw. The dogo got a bobo. Huh? Say the dogo got a bobo. So Samson is 5 months old. He is 60 pounds. You heard me right. 60 pounds. So just wanted to show you guys that. Make you just smile today. Have you ever seen anything so absolutely adorable in your entire life? No, I didn't think so. Thanks again for watching Storekeep Farmstead and seeing how we do it here, debt-free on 2 acres, making ourselves food independent, growing food not just for us, but for the livestock on the property and for the dogs on the property, because it is our goal to be able to feed ourselves and our neighbors. Like, food independence, guys, that is what it's all about, right? It's about knowing what you're putting in your food, knowing what you're putting in your body, and knowing that what you're eating is actually medicine, because food used to be medicine. I'm not sure if you guys heard, but Germany is thinking about banning meat. They're literally fixing to take it to Parliament and decide, you ready for this? If people can only have 10 ounces of meat a month. Are you kidding? That would never fly in the South of America. Like, South Louisiana, we love our meat. We love our seafood. I mean, how dare they? 10 ounces? I mean, I eat a steak bigger than 10 ounces at one sitting. So I'm just saying, more now than ever, we as the humans of the world need to take back our independence, guys. We need to stop listening to their nonsense. We need to start growing our own food and sourcing our own meats. And if you can't have a cow, which I can't on 2 acres, I mean, buying half a cow at a time, helping them, it helps me. I know where my meat comes from. You got to think outside the box. So thank you for watching Storekeep Farmstead. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I have a whole lot more to do. It's 10:30 in the morning. I'm covered in dirt and sweat, and I'm running out of energy. So God bless you. Secure your food, guys. Compost in your coop. You will not regret it. Have a blessed day.